In this video, I'm just going to show you guys how you do one of these colored backlight mods on a monochrome iPod. So I'll go over what you need in a second other than the iPod, and I'll show you that this one does in fact have a filter in the backlight. You can hopefully see that it's pink instead of being whitish blue. But what you will need is a T6 screwdriver, one of your Seismo things. If you're doing it with paper, you can color the paper with markers, and some paper that you can use as the filter material. You don't need to use paper. I've gotten away with using fabric before. It has to be really, really thin because you need to put it inside the screen, of course, not like on top or behind the screen. Well, you technically put it behind the screen, but I'll show you in a minute. So what you're gonna want to do is turn your iPod off. I just turned mine off. And then you're gonna want to open it up here. This is a Monochrome 4th gen, as you may have been able to tell with the fact that I had turned it on. Unplug the battery. Carefully unplug your headphone ribbon. Those ribbons are fragile. I am not responsible for any damage caused to your iPod. Take your drive, flash mod, whatever the hell you have in it out. Flip up your click wheel connector. I use the screwdriver underneath to unplug it. And there are 6 or so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 T6 screws holding the board down. There are 2 down here, 2 here, and then 2 up here. I'm missing 1, so I'm only going to be undoing 5. Now, you probably could do this on a color screen iPod. It would just probably ruin the color palette of the screen if you did it. So, with all 6 of your screws out, you can grab the board by the hard drive ribbon. Be gentle, of course. Flip up your screen tab so you can unplug it. I'm gonna grab a pair of tweezers to help me a little bit. You don't need this, but it will help you unplug the screen. It's not helping me all that much, apparently. Push it down. There. You can just push the ribbon against the screen to undo that. And then, oftentimes these screens will stick. So you're gonna want to grab your Seismo and gently pry, not too hard, don't do too much. As you can see, the gasket on mine was sticking to the frame of the front plate. So, with your screen here, you're going to want to be gentle with this, of course. You can easily damage the screen. Someone on the iPod server had chipped the glass on theirs when replacing the polarizer on it, and that caused a line of dead pixels through it. So be gentle when doing this. There's a lot more adhesive holding a screen together that hasn't been taken apart before. This screen of mine has been taken apart before a few times. So what I do is I gently push on it like this, and if it's a new screen, I will pry gently as well. As you can see, I have a filter in here already. Let me try and grab it out here with my tweezers. Come on, filter. On, filter. Hold it like that. I do not take the screen apart all the way. I've done this more than once. I've done this at least 4 times that I can think of. I've done it on a mini screen too. This is a filter I made out of white paper with the marker. And what you're going to want to do is, well, get your filter paper or filter plastic. You can use very thin clear plastic. You can get tinted plastic like gel plastic or something like that. I know people who offer iPod modding services, people like ANDRD, or is it ANDRD or ANDRD? I don't know. But they will use, but that person, he uses colored plastic for the filter. I use paper because it's what I have on hand most of the time. So, what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna make just another fucking filter, you know. We're just gonna have some fun here. It doesn't need to be perfect. This is an instructional video. You can take your time with this. You could probably write some secret message in here, and keep in mind it will not show up on the iPod when the backlight is off. So if you wanted to, say, prank your friend by making their iPod say a certain slur, you very easily could. Not the N-word, of course. I don't condone the use of such word. Just get the bars somewhat even. Now some of this is going to get cut off. I do it oversized so it will fit snugly in the screen without shaking around or anything, without getting jostled loose, stuff like that. And the thing about doing it with markers is that you can very easily mess up. I'm sure you could get some plastic printed? I'm not sure. You could probably get some plastic colored to be better suited for such things like this. Again, not aiming for perfection. This is an example piece. I've done better and worse than this. As you can see, this is very much not perfect, but luckily we have a template that we can cut. You can tell that this is way oversized for this screen. So, lining up that, I'm going to find the scissors here, and we are going to start cutting. Now, I of course recommend cutting oversized for the first pass, because if you screw up, you don't need to panic if you cut oversize. Line up the corners. This is going to be my longest video on YouTube, I know it. Mostly because I'm actually doing this step by step. Now you have your colored filter. So, like I said, this colored filter is not perfect. I'll color in some of the spots I missed here. I'm finally past the issue of not having enough blue on when I color these filters to be this flag. Color in some of the spots I missed. Because, you know, I missed a few. I'm not aiming for perfection here, like I said 5 times before. So, again, I push the screen from behind gently. You can very easily damage your screen doing this. Some people recommend using alcohol to weaken the adhesive on the display. I recommend that too, for the first time that you open it. Well, once you get it open the first time, it'll probably never go back together the exact same. As you can tell, I cut this filter oversized so it fits very snugly. It gets folded at the top and pressed into the screen like that. You don't really need to worry about fingerprints on the display. You won't really be able to see them. It's not a very big fingerprint magnet, but if you are so worried, you can Rub it down with a cloth after you're done. You don't need this gasket. It's just, I just keep using it because it's an original part of the display. Mine barely has any stick left on the one corner. As you can tell, it's barely sticking anymore. Now, chances are you're not going to line this up perfectly, and that's fine. You don't need to worry all too much. You don't need to worry your pretty little scalp off for this. Now, I'm going to make sure I don't have any dirt collected up in this display housing. Make sure there's no dirt trapped on your gasket. And now, one thing I do is I will reassemble the iPod before putting it back together to test my filter. Plug that back in. Plug my drive back in. Hope I'm still in frame here. If I'm not, I apologize. There we go. Have that. Now, I don't have a battery installed, so if you're doing this without FireWire, you will need to plug your battery back in, but I have FireWire. Now, my iPod takes a long time to boot. I'm not exactly sure why that is, so we will wait here for its boot. If I had to sit through it, you have to sit through it too. So, you get to sit through this with me. And my camera is not going to show the colors perfectly. It never will. I'm using my phone to record this. But if I did this well enough, it'll hopefully look fine. The thing about testing it like this is the backlight. See, it will turn on like that, and it will go off after a few seconds, but it'll show you that it is working, and you can get away with doing this filter stuff. So I'm going to unplug it. Unplug the drive too. Let me flip it over here. I have a lot of tape in this iPod holding everything together. That's a pro tip there. If your iPod is shaking around and if you're clumsy like me, use a lot of tape to hold the innards in place when you flash mod it. I need to get the ribbon back up. There we go. Plugging this one back in is always a little bit difficult. There you go. Once you get the hang of it and have torn a 4th gen down as many times as I have, it'll come naturally at some point. Of course, push your tabs back down, grab your screws, and start putting them back in. I save the screw closest to the battery plug for last. It's just a force of habit because it feels like the motherboard is flexing when you put the screws in. It's just because of the ribbons. They're holding the board up, but it feels like it's flexing, even though I know it's really likely not. But screw everything back in, like I said. Again, this is a T6 driver, which you should remember from the beginning. T6 is the perfect size, of course. Doesn't let you strip it out, doesn't let you not get enough torque. These screws shouldn't go in extremely tight, just tight enough to hold everything down. Wait to plug in the battery. You don't need to wait, I just normally do. Get my board plugged back in. Now I plug my battery back in. Get my headphone ribbon. Plug that back in as well. Close it back up. There we go. And now we wait for the boot again. Again, I have to wait for it, you do too. This is a bit annoying, and I would be scrolling on my phone right now because I'm addicted to my phone, but I'm filming this with my phone, so you don't get to see me doom scrolling yet. Maybe one day. No, I'm lying. You're never gonna get to see that. But now I know that because I said that I'm gonna show it at some point. And here we are. Our screen with our backlight filter is in place. It's more white in the center in person. My camera likes to turn white into blue, especially on these backlights. This filter is a bit better than my previous attempts at this flag. I never went for perfection with this, but and there, the backlight turned off. You can tell that it's completely normal under the backlight. This is not exactly a comprehensive thing on how to do it. There may be some steps that I went right past without explaining enough. The thing about this peeling the screen apart is that normally there is a lot of adhesive and pressure holding those together. I've taken this display apart at least 10 times, so it's easy for me to push and peel the screen apart. It may not be so easy for you. So like a lot of people recommend, use some rubbing alcohol to loosen some of the adhesive. It'll help you get a leg up in pulling the screen apart. Try not to soak it. If you get alcohol in between the layers, it may dry oddly and look a bit weird. But other than that, there's not big danger to this other than possibly tearing some ribbons. And I'll let you look at the backlight filter again. You can use a lot of things as a filter, like I had said. You can use fabric, plastic, paper. There's probably some other materials. I kind of want to test if you can use like Scotch tape, but I don't have any Scotch tape. I wonder if you could make a sheet of like Captain tape, you know, the heat resistant electronic tape, you know, not electrical tape, but Captain tape. I wonder if you could use that, because I know you can get that in that weird yellow. Someone on the Discord was saying, do you have like a tinge yellow one, a tinge yellow filter? Because you could see what the backlight would probably look like if it was clear white in that scenario, because most of these backlights on the 4th gens are more blue, which, like I said, is also why my camera likes to show the middle part as blue, even though in real life it's white. I will show some photos on the screen of some of my past filters, including the fabric filter, if you want to see how that turned out. I used a pretty poor fabric for it. It was pretty good fabric for it, but the pattern on it made it look sickly. It was green with white dots. It made it look sickly, you know. It wasn't great, but it proved my concept in my head that fabric can work for that. And I do still have these past few filter attempts like this. I use these as templates, of course. It helps you get, well, once you get one down, you can just use that as the template. You could probably have a Cricut like cut plastic, I guess. I don't really know. I don't have a Cricut. Excuse me, sorry. I just do everything by hand. My sign was out of whack, damn it. But it's a very simple mod. It's a bit time consuming, of course. I don't like constantly redoing it because I have to tear the iPod down to nothing. But it is fun to do if you have the time and want to spice up your iPod in a way that most people overlook, I'd say. It's, like I said, very easy. And in my opinion, it is worthwhile if you can get a good filter or color or good filter material. Paper can dim the backlight if it's too thick. I've used like oddly thick but still kind of thin, like pink construction paper almost. It dims the backlight a lot. The fabric, any filter that isn't like plastic will likely dim your filter a lot. Not dim your filter, dim your backlight a lot. So it would be best to use plastic, like how ANDRD does. I might link his store. I won't get any affiliate crap off of it, but I'll link Andy or D so you can see some of his stuff, like his Etsy shop. He sells, you know, the refurbished iPods. He does colored backlights on minis and other monochrome iPods. I've seen some people take apart 3rd gens and change the LED color underneath the touch buttons. I don't have a 3rd gen, so I can't show such a thing, and even if I did have a 3rd gen, I'd be kind of terrified to do such a thing to that, because I don't want to destroy my iPod. Again, just be careful. If you do it wrong, you could damage your screen. Like I had said, the one person in the Discord chipped the glass on theirs when prying it apart to replace their digitizers, and they lost some pixels up at the top. It didn't affect much, but they did still lose the pixels up between the time and the playback display and the time part. So this video, I hope you enjoyed it. I'm gonna do the stupid YouTuber thing. You can like, comment, and subscribe. You may be able to see my hands, I don't know, probably not. But just like, comment, subscribe. If you liked the video or found this useful, please comment. If you comment and like, you don't even need to subscribe. If you comment and like, it'll boost the algorithm, so more people will see this, and hopefully more people will embrace the idea of filtering your backlight. This idea has been around for at least a decade. I've seen this traced back to roughly 2008 or 9, when there was a company back then that would sell pre-modded filtered monochrome screens for 4th and 3rd and 1st and 2nd gens for all the monochrome iPods. Now, I don't have one of those original screens, those original modded screens to show. I'll try and hunt down the photo and throw it up on screen for you to see, but it's really interesting. And I'm also going to link some of the other crazy mods from the 2000s that I've found. I found a 4th gen with an iView plate that had blue LEDs around the perimeter that would pulse to the music. That was really fucking neat. I'll find photos and videos of all the weird mods that I could find. And I will even link what I believe to be the first ever documented flash mod on a 4th gen classic. I will link all that in the description. I don't know who did this originally, but like I said, there were the filtered LCDs available in like 2008/2009. I can't credit a specific person for doing this, because the idea of filtering a backlight for a monochrome display like this has been thrown around for probably decades at this point. I wish I could credit somebody for this, but I can't. Try not to credit me for this, because I didn't come up with this idea. I stole this idea from someone else, but this idea likely traces back as far as monochrome screens like this go. So again, try not to credit me. I keep getting credited for this, and I don't like taking credit for this because it's not my idea. But again, thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, I guess. Like I said, commenting and liking boosts it to the algorithm. I will try to engage with as many comments as I can. This mod, of course, not an essential mod. You could see that the mods I did in this were a flash mod and a new battery. I did that because the original battery and the original hard drive were dead. It would still be all original if those parts weren't dead. So, just thanks for watching. If you made it all the way through, I'm sorry for rambling like this, but this is the end. Again, I'll throw all those links for random things that I find interesting into the description, throw photos on screen, everything like that. But thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.